Mariama Diallo needs to pay for her crimes. Welcome back to October Scaries, where I have fallen from Train to Busan down where you can't even see my hand to Master, written and directed by the wanted person that I named just now. So, Master is a psychological racial horror thriller where the horror is racism and it is done badly. Here's a quick rundown of what we're working with. So, Jasmine arrives to Ancaster for her first day of her freshman year, and right away she runs into the welcome crew, who are all white kids, and already they're creepy. They're like, I think she's the one, or we've got another one. And they look at the room, they tell her the room where she's going to be staying, and then they creepily look back at it, and it's ominous. So Jasmine is subjected to both overt and covert racism in the school. At one point, when she goes back to her room, there are a whole bunch of white kids on her bed, and they're like, "Oh, who are you?" And she's like, "Guess." Which, okay. And they name like 4 black celebrities that they know of: Beyonce, Lizzo, Serena Williams, or maybe Venus Williams. And she's like uncomfortable and like smiling all awkwardly. We had the librarian at one point. She went to check out books, and that was a microaggressive conversation where the librarian was like, "Oh, your parents must be so proud of you," because Ancaster is like Harvard, very prestigious, very old, traditionally white. It's a PWI, and doesn't really let black people in like that. There's a teacher named Liv, who I think she's an English teacher or something like that, something with reading literature and analyzing it. And they're reading the Scarlet Letter, I think. But before that, they were talking about some other book that I don't remember. And so Jasmine gives her analysis, which was a good one. I don't know anything about the story. And the Liv, who is a light-skinned black woman, doesn't go for it, isn't impressed. And then this white girl gives a basic analysis that actually goes off of Jasmine's analysis, and she fawns over her. So like little things like that where she's being like, delegitimized and cut down overtly and covertly as well. So she's the student. On the other end, we have Gail, who is played by Regina Hall. And Gail is the new Master. She was just hired in the position. I'm guessing that Master is like a step below president or 2 steps below president, because in one of her microaggressive conversations, one of the white people there says, "Oh, maybe next time you'll be president." And one of them goes, "Like Barack Obama, or the next Barack Obama." She is the first black Master in the school. As part of that, she moves into this house. Under this thing, she finds a lawn jockey. And she finds a lawn jockey. At another point, she finds some kind of what is it? She finds a nephrological sketch. Nephrology, which was the pseudoscience that basically was used to justify racism, to justify abusing people with both mental and physical disabilities. So it's this belief or pseudoscience of like the shape and size of your skull tells a lot about your personality and your worth as a human being, and how smart are you, and whether you're part of the superior race or not. So she finds this drawing. Both with the lawn jockey and with the drawing, Gail just looks not even mildly curious, just like a tepid like eyebrow raise. And so my whole thing is, this movie seems to just be about displaying one racism act after another. At a certain point, we even have a cross burning on a lawn. And so it just seems like the movie just wanted to display racism. And the characters were just, the black characters, Gail, Jasmine, and even Liv, were just objects to be acted upon. Because from 10 minutes into the movie, 15, 20, I was just like, why are y'all here? Like, I could not reconcile why they're here. Why this place? Why this school? What is the reason why you have to be in this setting that this movie has put you in? Jasmine is just a school. She, at one point when Liv was being, making assumptions about her, saying that, "Oh, I know this material," because she gave her an F. And she was like, "This material must be very hard for you, having come from," and Jasmine was like, "Having come from what? I'm from the suburbs, not the ghetto." She didn't say that part, but that's what she meant. And so it's like, you're from the suburbs, so surely you've heard of transfers. Why not transfer? I don't understand why she stayed and put up with this. I understand what it was trying to do in the sense of like, being at a PWI, the microaggression. It was just so over the top. Meanwhile, there's a haunting in the school. And there's a ghost. There's a woman named Margaret Millet was burned at the stake, accused of being a witch. This is happening in like the Northeast. Accused of being a witch. She was hung on December 3rd, and she now haunts that room. And she supposedly killed the last black student who stayed in that room. And I'm like, why that room? Although the newspaper said that student, who was the first black undergraduate in that school in Ancaster, was hung by her roommate. And so Jasmine kind of goes on an investigative mission, but nothing comes of it because Jasmine, starts seeing things. She gets scratches in her sleep. And so we get the sense that Margaret is hunting her. But why? Did black people hang Margaret? Is Margaret racist? Like, they specifically said she was hung for being a witch. So then why is she hunting Jasmine? So many things in this movie just do not link. So we've got Margaret Millet, the witch. I don't know why this was a part of the movie. We've got the death of Ancaster's first black graduate. I don't know why this was included other than leading up to how Jasmine dies. Because Jasmine dies. So Jasmine ends up falling out of her window because she thought something was, after her, the witch or whatever. So she falls out of the window, ends up in the hospital. And so Gail goes to see her, and Gail says to her, because Jasmine was like, I need to get out of here. I need to leave this school. And Gail, with the bad advice, said, it's like this anywhere you go. It's America. Like, the racism is just going to be everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, sure. But there are degrees. There are levels. Why is it worth this degree? Like, why is this degree of racism? Like, you literally cannot go a day at Ancaster as a black person without being microaggressed and harassed for being black. So it's like, why are you telling this child that it's worth it? We also have a group of Amish light people who live near the town. I don't know why they were in this other than Rachel Dolezal. Yes, Rachel Dolezal caught astray in this movie because turns out Liv, according to this white woman who says she's her mother, she kept calling the school and kept calling Gail's house specifically for whatever reason to let her know that Gail ain't really black. She's white. She shows a picture of a little white girl and says, this was Liv. Her name is Elizabeth. And she ran away one day and she ain't seen her since, except she saw her in a newspaper one day and all of a sudden she was black. And so Liv, and I believe it, Gail confronted Liv in this super dramatic scene. And so that's at the party where Liv was playing the City Girls, which is also why I think she is a white woman, because I'm like, this is not the space or the group to be playing that song. Like, so, the look that Liv had on her face when Gail told everybody that that's a white woman is what makes me believe that Gail was right and the mom was telling the truth, because the look on Liv's face gave, I've been exposed. And she tells Gail that like, oh, my mom just like hates me because like she's mad that she had she slept with a black man and has a black child. I just feel like she had that ready to go if she was ever found out. After snapping on Liv leaves and Gail stays at the party. She's just sitting down in shock, I guess. And there are these white women like talking, around her and talking about mental health. And that's why you snap, Gail. Like, the school doesn't provide enough resources for mental health. And so she's looking at the men who are, everybody's white, the men who are playing some card game. And then she looks at a painting where there are also men playing card games. And she says, like, things will never change. And so she leaves and she's walking through the campus and a school cop stops her and asks for her ID because she's black. Like, in case you missed that, asks for her ID. And she says no. He thinks she's saying she doesn't mind, but she says, no, I don't work here anymore. Wow, that's so convenient. And so then she goes walking down into the darkness, and I'm like, are you going to leave your stuff in the house? Your stuff is in the house. Like, that's all I was thinking about, because I'm like, what did we just accomplish here? It just feels like this movie was just a presentation of racist acts. And me, as a black person, I'm just like, and? What about it? My ratings system was 1 out of 5 until I watched this movie and I added 0. So it's 0 out of 5. This movie is a 0.